planned it. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, I need to know, 'cause my loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I still believe when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me, baby, one more time. Confess, I still believe when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me, baby, one more time, one more time. Baby, how was I supposed to know? That something wasn't right, I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, I need to know, 'cause my loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I still believe when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me, baby, one more time. Oh baby, baby, the reason I breathe is you. Girl, you've got me blinded. Oh pretty baby, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. It's not the way that I planned it. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, I need to know, 'cause my loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I still believe when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me, baby, one more time. I must confess, I still believe when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, Something wasn't right. I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, I need to know, 'cause my loneliness. FretJob, gotta get it in for FretJob. Turn it up on the volume now. It's time to tune into the FretJob.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday, pickers and grinners. Welcome to the FretJob. The FretJob is a live video podcast where we dig into the bones of the guitar world, and our conversations touch on pretty much anything with strings. The FretJob is brought to you live from Frizzell Guitars, located 816 Stanford Road, Danville, Kentucky. Frizzell Guitars is Kentucky's premier guitar store and full-service luthier shop. Now, I'm going to hand it over to my friend and co-host, the owner and professional luthier at Frizzell Guitars, Mr. Brandon Edwards.
All right, what is up, everybody? My name is Brandon Edwards, and I'm the owner luthier here at Frizzell Guitars. How y'all doing today? Let me take a second to introduce my co-host. This is the famous Jonathan McWhorter. He is real estate extraordinaire. He is just a great harmonica player, great ukulele player, a great guitar player in general, and he is one of the raddest, baddest, and coolest real estate agents I know.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I appreciate it. And for sure, y'all give me a call if you want to go look at some houses, or if you got a property
He'll
you
sell
want to
anything for
give
you,
me a
just not your
call.
kidney.
My number is 606-669-8225. Now, let's dig into the reason we're here, and that is guitars. That is Frizzell Guitars, and what's going on in the shop, and what's happening in this business that's starting to get some time on it. You've been around for a while. People are starting to realize what's going on in town in the music scene.
Yes, sir.
And they're realizing that a lot of it's happening at Frizzell Guitars. So tell us what's going on at Frizzell Guitars. Tell us what's going on in the shop, man.
You best ain't believe it. So we coming at you today. So this morning I picked up this Gretsch I've had. It's officially became mine here at the store. So we got
Cool.
this incredible vintage Gretsch. We got a lot of projects. I mean, we honestly.
Was that Synchromatic? Is that what that
Yep.
is?
It's a 50s USA made Synchromatic.
Y'all get in and check that thing out. I've played it. I've checked it out. It's a cool guitar.
I mean,
it's got that vintage mojo just dripping off of it. Y'all go in there and give that thing a shot.
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
going on the bench, man? You got stuff happening on the bench in there?
Oh yeah, I do got stuff happening on the bench in there. I got a
Yeah.
lot of cool little things happening on the bench.
Oh, I know you do.
Too much, actually.
There's good guitars to come. You all check them out.
Yeah.
You'll see.
You'll see. I've got some great stuff in the works. I'm really trying to bust my balls and get at it even more.
How about playing music? Y'all been playing out? You've been
We were supposed to have a show this past Friday, me and Keisha.
Yeah.
She come down sick with a stomach bug like I had. I had it the previous Friday, and
Yeah.
she had it this Friday, but it was
Y'all
last.
get back jamming again.
But some exciting things with that whole situation. Is she's got a full band. We got looking at a new bass player. We got a rhythm guitar player. Christian just joined on. We've got Eric on drums, and then Keisha on vocals. So we had a practice this weekend. Me and the rhythm guitar player Christian. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it sounded great, man. It
Cool.
felt great to get that guitar back in my hands and to start learning some of these lead riffs and stuff. And it's just pretty cool. And I've got Before He Cheats, Carrie Underwood stuck in my head about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. It's always fun to get out and jam and
It is.
learn new music, and it gets you out of your comfort zone, and you start learning a genre, even learning different genres than what you listen to, man. It'll just really expand your capabilities. The topic today is it's a fun topic to talk about, but I'm sure that some people it probably makes sad, because there's some people out here that probably have these instruments we're going to talk about, and there's some people out there that are companies out there that made these instruments and they suffered the consequences.
And I'm going to tell you a story though. People, you got to bash these places. Not and people are like, what are you saying that for? Because if not, you're not going to get a great guitar. They need your feedback. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Tell them. That's how you get great guitars, is when you get good feedback.
So the topic, for those that didn't read our title page or whatever, our post, the topic for the day is guitars that flopped, guitars that failed, guitars that get the big F grade. Over the years, a lot of people's come out with things that they perceived as innovative, and a lot of them were innovative, but it just, guitars have been awesome for a long time. The acoustic guitar is an endearing instrument that's not changed a ton over the years. It's basically the same basic thing that it was years and years and years ago.
So I'll kick off this.
Hard to fix, perfect. Don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So some of the designs that they came up with weren't great. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I'll talk about, we'll start with acoustics. I've got a few acoustics to name. Gibson had a few acoustics that flopped in the 80s.
Yeah.
They had the Ovation copy, which was basically a plastic back guitar that Gibson made. And then Gibson made like a couple, I forget what they call them, but they made like a couple really weird acoustics that had some like weird sound holes, and those were really flops for Gibson back in the day, back in the 80s.
I've got an acoustic, and y'all forgive me for my old school tactics, because I'm not a tech guru or anything, so I'm gonna do it the old school way and pull up a pick. And here it is. This is one that Martin really, I don't know if I'd say dropped the ball on, but it's not my favorite design, and it's called the Alternative XT. This thing is metal, man. They came out with it. I'll tell you a little bit about it. The Martin Alternative XT, the first ever instrument in its alternative range, the company's alternative range. It's a 00 size X model. Let's see. So AL in the title, in the model, is the scientific. Okay, the capitalization of the L in its name is deliberate. AL is a scientific symbol for aluminum. So this thing's aluminum, man, and it's got a tremolo, man.
It's got a Bigsby style tremolo.
Yeah. Anyway, it's still not. It's cool thought, but acoustic
people like those
just aren't
Bigsby's or
interested.
they don't. I mean, Bigsby's one of those things where people like it or they don't like it. Some
Put on
people,
an acoustic.
even that, like there's people that just like, what that reminds me of? It reminds me of those SST Chet Atkins that Gibson had, that Chet Atkins played. You know what the SST is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in his exhibit down there at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I own one of those SSTs.
Cool.
At one point, it was an Epiphone. It was a Korean Epiphone. Chet Atkins SST. It was so cool. But
I bet it was.
It just kind of reminds me, like you said, it had the Bigsby style on there. Bigsby's one of those things. You either like it or you don't. Some people.
Yeah.
I know people that have customers that absolutely hate Bigsby. They wouldn't put a Bigsby on anything they got. They don't think it stays them too well. And then there's people that, oh my goodness, they love a Bigsby.
I don't have any experience with one. What about, what would you say is your probably ultimate solid body electric guitar flop? I know I've read about like the robot, the Gibson robot guitars.
Okay, so those were supposed to be in modern day. Those were more or less a flop. I mean, they sucked, and basically it was just trying to do something stupid.
So basically, what these robot guitars were, it was a Les Paul, but it had an automatic tuner on it that automatically tuned, and as a guitar player, I don't have any interest in that, man. I just don't see you having the control that you have with your hand.
Yeah, so here's something I'll mention too as well.
It's not like it kills you to tune either, so
No, so we'll talk about Fender had a few. That Fender made like a katana. It was kind of a fail. It was trying to compete with the Flying V and the Shark Tail, and it was another failure. It was discontinued in 1986, and if I'm not mistaken, it was made. It was trying to copy Jackson, and it was kind of more or less trying to copy.
Yeah.
And then you had the Fender Performer. That was one that was a fail. You had a really big fail by Fender, which was the Fender Mardour. You know, it's the rarest model. It was due to poor sales. You know, some of these were due to poor sales and stuff, and you know.
What about so there's some extravagant stuff that people came out with. Like, I've got one here that I did some reading about when I was researching for this episode. And it's made by Vox. So it's called the Vox organ guitar.
Yes, those were really a flop.
Yeah, I mean, so they started producing guitars in around '59. A lot of them were budget in the beginning, and they came up with the Vox Phantom in 1961. It had 5-sided body without any curves or conventional designs. They ended up dropping that. Then they had some other models of the Phantom, and then they had a variation of it called Vox's Guitar Organ, and it was the brainchild of one of the founders. It was marketed in 1964, but it didn't reach production until a few years later. It had the frets in this thing had special contacts connected to part of the innards of a Vox organ built into the instrument's body. It was intended to offer the player the ability to create organ sounds and similar sounds individually or simultaneously. So this thing was wild looking too, but you saw other Vox guitars that have that same body shape right there. But anyhow,
Let's mention another one that makes our list. Let's talk about Taylor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, I think, man.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I agree. I think it's unfortunate that
they made some beautiful guitars in those
lines, for sure.
And they just didn't take off. I mean, I don't know if it was really flop had anything to do with design. I think it just had to do with the culture that surrounds Taylor as an acoustic company.
Yeah, I mean, too many people just didn't like. It didn't feel right when they put it in their hands. You know, it could play great, but it just didn't feel like they wanted.
I just don't know if enough people got them in their hands. They didn't take off quick enough. I think Taylor had such a reputation as an acoustic guitar maker, and people are reluctant for change, and they didn't wait long enough to see if they took off.
Yeah,
We'll
I mean, I'll agree.
Maybe later on, some of the used ones will start moving around, and they'll realize that they're good guitars. But they looked really nice to me and felt nice to me, the ones I saw.
We'll talk about, we'll mention another Fender here, the Fender Performer. It was released in 1985, was made in Japan. The manufacturer was suspended just a year later. The main characteristic was a small body with 2 horns. It had 24 jumbo frets, features a Gibson-style Floyd Rose, Floyd and tremolo system, and it had weirdly shaped humbuckers, and it was just all around a flop for Fender.
Yeah. I think these guitars are important though, man. I think they're important because without all these failed tries at something innovative, we wouldn't have the innovations that did stick that went on to change things.
Yeah, so Fender also made a Fender Vista Venus. It was $699. It was a 6-string, and then they made a 12-string version. But basically, it was a 12-string electric guitar that Gibson made, and nobody wanted it.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know. You were mentioning to me earlier about a really cool guitar, Gibson, called the Firebird X.
Yeah.
A lot of people know about that. You want to tell me about that?
Well, I really didn't read much about the Firebird X, man, but I've got it here. Let's see here.
And I'll elaborate. I'll let you add your little touch, and I'll start on it.
Go ahead.
So, Gibson's ex-CEO, Henry Jeskowitz, he did want to make modern guitar. And I'm not going to go in, I worked at Gibson, I was an employee. I heard what some of the people felt about him. I know what happened to Gibson, why it got why it went bankrupt and different things. And just for people to understand, and I'm going to make this statement now, because being a former employee, it wasn't the employees that made Gibson what it was. They only worked as hard as they could with the tools they were given. They were told to only do certain. It's not like they wanted to go out and produce a low quality guitar for thousands of bucks. It's that the management is the cause of it. At poor management, they fired all the quality control people. Business. Yeah, I mean they can't control. They were told that they can't do certain things. They can't do this, and even though it was detrimental to the guitar, they were told, hey, if you don't do this, zip out the door.
Yeah.
Too many people think, well, Gibson had that quality issue for a while. And don't blame the employees, blame the management.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd say 90% of the time that's the case. Let's see here. I think it's always just an attempt at being the guy that's got the guitar of the future. And I think the reason these crazy attempts at different things fail is because it was so good to begin with. I mean, it's hard to beat a Tele, a Strat, a Les Paul, depending on what kind of music you're playing, the best of the best has almost already been made, man. And, a lot of guitar players just aren't interested in gimmicks. I'm not interested in gimmicks on my guitar. I mean, I'm not even as interested in ornamentation as I used to be. I used to want a really highly ornate guitar. I thought, the more pearl, the better. And even with that, I don't care as much about that anymore as I used to.
And another thing, Gibson also made an Ultratone in 1946. It was a lap steel guitar. And, after World War II, Gibson, was the Midwest company still leaning heavily on tradition. And it was just, it really just wasn't something that took off. It was first known as a BR1, and a solid maple body, white sparkling fingerboard. But it was just a guitar that just did not take off for Gibson.
So I've been reading a little bit here. While you were talking there, I was
Go
listening
ahead.
out of one ear and reading about this Firebird X that we were talking about a second ago.
Yes, sir.
So they had it was like a non-reverse Firebird, which it actually looks really cool, man. I kind of dig the body shape of it. But anyhow, it had the robot tuning system on it, just like the robot guitars. It had 3 magnetic pickups and a system to store, play, and edit 55 preset tones from among the onboard effects and models. Computer connection through USB, 2 Bluetooth controller pedals. Guitarists were baffled. They couldn't get over how it worked. But
Can I mention something to you?
they just wouldn't buy it, man. They just wouldn't buy it and pay that kind of money for it.
I'm going to tell you this, and this is one of the biggest things Gibson did. When Gibson went back to tradition, when they went back to the not made in 2018, not made in 2019, when they went back to a 50s or 60s Les Paul standard or an SG standard and different stuff like that.
That's when they went back to the top.
Mm-hmm. That's when they went back. When they went back and hit the tradition, people don't need all that fancy crap on a guitar. When people got a guitar with 2 humbuckers, 2 volumes, 2 tones, Lucent tuners, and a solid neck and a solid bridge, man, that's all they needed.
Yeah.
And they could make all the music in the world they needed. Same thing, they went back. And like the SGs, man, when you go back to that tradition, you go back to what's sold, what people are used to seeing, that's what makes people excited. Because, the Les Paul guitars like that, they've been selling for 50, but there's a reason they've been selling. No matter how old you get, no matter how old, everybody at some point, no matter what generation you live in, always wants a Les Paul, always wants a Martin D18.
basically, if I wanted an organ, I'd bought an organ.
Yes.
If I
You would.
wanted a guitar that played itself, I'd buy a radio.
We know a guy
And
that
just
sells
listen to a radio. You know what I mean? I mean, I want to make the music with my hands and the bare necessities as far as a guitar goes. I mean, yeah, there's some luxury items, comfort items that I've saw that are innovative on guitars. That some like the armrest. I haven't really played many guitars with those, but those are innovations that some people will continue to buy. I think the armrests are here to stay. I don't think they're just going to fade away. I think there'll always be people put like in the acoustic inlaid armrest. I think there's always going to be a certain percentage of guitar players that like that kind of thing.
But you know, and even you say a certain percentage like that.
But it's not a gimmick.
But
It's got a use.
But you'll be like this. But no matter what generation you grow up in, even younger generations coming up, they're always still going to want the classics, the D18, D45, a Hummingbird. They're still going to want a Les Paul, a Strat, a Tele. You know, that's just stuff that people grew up in still. No matter what, it still stays popular. People still get excited when they pick one up and put them in their hands.
Now, when I was a kid, I do remember looking at old AMS catalogs and stuff like that and seeing some of these innovative things when they first came out. Some of these models we're talking about, and thinking they were cool as a kid. But man, pretty much instantly when I actually started to play music and learn about instruments, the gimmicks became nothing to me, and I just instantly started looking towards the people that played music before me and what they used, and they didn't use gimmicks, most of them. So, you know, if you want to play music, if you're inspired to play music by some John Prine or somebody like that from the past, then you're going to look at the instruments that those guys play, and that's probably going to be what you're going to lean towards. And most of those guys did not play gimmick.
Like Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, everybody wanted a Strat because of Stevie. You know?
Yeah.
You know, everybody...
and he wanted it because it's great.
Jimmy
You know,
Page,
for what
everybody
he
wanted a
does,
Les
it's
Paul. Slash, everybody wanted a Les Paul. I mean, it's so iconic. It's like you think of different people. Gene Autry. Gene Autry paved the way for the D45.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, you can't,
You
if
know?
it's not broke, don't fix it.
But
And they
you
started
know,
trying to fix non-broken designs, and they couldn't top them, man.
You can't.
No.
Oh, me, y'all.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, it's there's a lot of information out there you can learn. You can look up more stuff on you know, guitars that they didn't take it off. Fender had several, Gibson had several. All companies at one point or another had something that failed. Even gear. I mean, I remember there was gear that came out, pedals and stuff. Gear that was flops. They just didn't get what people wanted. I mean, there was gear microphones that people came out with that flopped, that nobody bought, you know. You can't beat an SM58, and you can't beat, you know, any kind of Sennheiser or something like that for, like,
But, you know,
conventional
it's crazy that there's so many models. Like, you go look at Shure or Sennheiser's model lines, and they've got insane amounts of little incremented models, you know, that are just different, tiny little differences in price level. And, you know, really, in reality, you can peel most of that away and get right back to a SM57, SM58, or I think they're 925s, or in the Sennheiser, like an E925. Yeah, I may be wrong about that model. But those are classic microphones, and you know, just look at what the other people are using. Look at what the people that you like listening to, the equipment that they use, and usually it's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's like just listen to the people they use. It's so basic, you know. Back in the day, all the man needed was a Fender Twin Reverb, a guitar, and a microphone, and he's good to go.
And as new stuff comes out, you know, you want to try it, like pedal brands. I'm not an electric guitar player, but I'm sure that when a new brand comes out with pedals, or a new company gets into making pedals, there's a certain amount of guys out there that give them a shot. But what would be the brand that's the go-to brand for pedals? I bet you there's a brand that stands out that, like, if you need
There's several.
life depends on it. The life depends on it brand. I'm getting on a stage. It has to be right.
You got either, I'll tell you the staples, Boss, Wampler.
That's what I thought.
Boss. There's Wampler, Boss, and then there's also there's so many great pedal companies out there now. You know,
Fender makes. I see a lot of Fender pedals.
Fender,
in stores.
Yeah, so you got Boss. You got a lot of cool stuff. You got Boss, you got Wampler. I'm drawing a blank on some other.
Boss.
Electro Harmonic.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of cool pieces and a lot of cool things.
And then you've got your economy brand pedals, I'm sure.
Behringer, you've got Dan Electro.
But Behringer, in sound equipment in general, they're pretty tough brand, though, aren't they? I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they make good stuff.
Yes, sir. Definitely 100% for sure.
Yeah.
And y'all let us know what you think it flopped. What do you think is a flop? What do you we want to know your thoughts, opinions, and everything else.
Amplifiers. There's definitely been some failed amplifier attempts, but there's been other companies come along and do the same thing that other company was trying to do, but do it better, and it didn't flop. Roland and Line 6, those companies, they make a lot of modeling stuff and pedal boards. They make modeling amplifiers.
Line 6.
My father-in-law had a Line 6 guitar that was really innovative.
Yeah, they make Line 6 makes the Helix, which is the most popular pedal board today. You'll go on stage and now you won't see analog as much. You'll see a lot of the Helixes. Helix is there. Helix is like Line 6's golden model. Everybody uses Line 6 Helix. That's just the go-to industry standard for a multi-effect
That's a
pedal
similar
board.
pedal board to the Head Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people use that Line 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get me a cool acoustic pedal board.
I've got the Pod Go, Line 6 Pod Go, which is incredible. I use it for acoustic effects.
Yeah. Does it do pretty good for that?
Oh, it does incredible. I got a pedal setting on that I can press it, and I can add strings to back up my acoustic guitar. So when I'm strumming or playing, it adds strings to it, which makes it sound incredible.
Yeah, I bet it does. I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's some great stuff. Yeah, but y'all, thank y'all for watching.
Yeah.
We've had a great episode.
Yeah.
You
all have a good week, and
if y'all need any real estate, go hit up Jonathan. He'll sell you anything except sell you a kidney.
And if you need your guitar worked on, or you need to buy some music equipment, guitar equipment, give Brandon a call, man. Strings, anything. Go by there and get your strings, man. Go by there and talk to him about the strings you want, and he can try to keep them for you.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a great week. Give me a call if you want to look at a house, and we'll see you next time.